At 6:47 a.m., silence shattered. Clang. Bolt cutters bit through my chain like gunfire echoing across suburbia. The HOA president, our self-proclaimed queen of rules, thought she was seizing an eyesore Jeep. What she didn't know, that vehicle belonged to a federal police task force. Her suburban power trip just became a felony. When I inherited my grandmother's home, I thought it would be a blessing. Willow Creek Estates looked picture-perfect. Manicured lawns, beige houses lined in symmetry, sprinklers hissing in unison. But under that polished surface lurked a tyrant in designer heels. Her name? Karen Whitmore. 52 years old, Lexus SUV, measuring tape always in hand. She wasn't just HOA president, she was judge, jury, and executioner of community standards. Everyone knew, cross Karen, and your life became miserable. At first, I ignored her reputation. I was an Army reservist recently recruited into a multi-agency drug task force. My Jeep Wrangler wasn't just transportation, it was federal equipment, loaded with encrypted radios, GPS trackers, and surveillance cameras worth more than most homes in the neighborhood. While I was deployed overseas, that Jeep stayed in Grandma's driveway, secured with chains. To me, Grandma's house was sacred ground. She raised me after my parents died. Every creaky floorboard carried memories of her tortillas cooking on Sunday mornings. She always told me, "Mijo, you stand up to bullies, but you do it the right way." I didn't know then just how much those words would matter. Because Karen wasn't satisfied with ruling over Christmas decorations and mailbox colors. She had her sights set on military families, the very people who sacrificed for the country. And she decided that my federally marked Jeep was an eyesore that didn't belong in her spotless suburb. Section 3. The Jeep and the first violation notice, 350 words. 2 weeks into deployment, I got the email, violation notice. Unauthorized commercial vehicle. Karen had slapped a $50 a day fine on my Jeep. She called it a work truck. My sister, Anna, a middle school teacher, went to reason with her. She showed Karen my military orders, explained the Jeep was government-issued law enforcement property, even offered to cover it with a tarp. Karen sneered. Rules are rules. If your brother can't follow them, maybe your family doesn't belong here. Anna was shaken. She called me crying. Tank, she threatened to put a lien on Grandma's house. She even hinted she could ruin my job at school. That's when Anna discovered the truth. While going through old HOA bylaws in Grandma's files, she noticed a key detail. Government and military vehicles were specifically exempted. Karen was flat out making up rules. And Anna wasn't alone. Other neighbors whispered about Karen's crusade. The Johnsons, a Marine family, fined for their motorcycle. The Martinez family, Navy, harassed for unprofessional lawn decorations. A veteran couple cited for a noisy oxygen machine. This wasn't about property values. It was organized harassment of military families. Karen thought no one would challenge her authority. What she didn't know, by targeting my Jeep, she wasn't just crossing a soldier. She was stepping into a fight with a federal task force agent who specialized in dismantling criminal organizations. Karen escalated fast. A week later, a registered letter hit Anna's mailbox. Immediate vehicle removal within 24 hours or emergency towing. The letter, filled with legal jargon, cited safety risks and neighborhood degradation. Complete fiction. But it was intimidating, especially with Karen's husband on city council. Anna called me in panic. Tank, there's a tow truck circling. The driver keeps staring at your Jeep. She wasn't exaggerating. Karen was staging psychological warfare. Letters, threats, intimidation. Even Anna's principal called her in. Parents complained about security risks from a military family. I couldn't believe it. While I was overseas chasing cartel operatives, my sister was being cornered in grocery store parking lots by HOA thugs pretending to enforce community safety. But Anna fought back. She started collecting evidence, fake violation letters, audio of Karen's threats, testimonies from neighbors. Each discovery was worse than the last. Hidden in old city files, she found proof that Karen had campaigned against military housing years earlier, claiming transient populations hurt property values. It wasn't just personal. It was discrimination with a paper trail. I remembered Grandma's words, stand up to bullies, but do it the right way. Karen had no idea she wasn't just harassing my family anymore. She was opening a case file that could and would end up in federal hands. The breaking point came at dawn. Anna's security camera caught the moment. Clang, clang, clang. Bolt cutters biting through my Jeep's chain. Karen herself, robe, messy hair, fury in her eyes, was cutting federal locks. Anna called me, shaking, "Tank. She's got bolt cutters and a tow truck. She's stealing your Jeep right now." I watched through Anna's phone as Karen directed the tow driver. He stopped cold when he saw the federal decals. "Lady," he said, backing away, "this is government property. I'm not touching it." Karen screamed, "I'm the HOA president. I have legal authority." What she didn't know. The second she cut my chain, the Jeep's security systems triggered Homeland Security alerts. Cameras hidden in the vehicle recorded every move. GPS trackers uploaded data to federal servers. Cutting that lock wasn't vandalism, it was classified theft with terrorism implications. The tow truck sped off, tires screeching. Karen, red-faced and spitting rage, locked the community gate, trapping the Jeep inside. "If he wants it back," she shrieked at Anna, "he can follow HOA procedure." Anna kept recording. Every word was evidence. That single morning transformed a neighborhood dispute into a federal criminal investigation. From my deployment tent, I filed an emergency report to my task force supervisor. Within hours, military lawyers and federal marshals had copies of Anna's footage. Staff Sergeant Rivera, a JAG officer, told me bluntly, "Your HOA president just interfered with federal property. That's espionage-level crime." The Jeep surveillance tech had logged everything. Karen trespassing 17 times, peeking inside with a flashlight, photographing equipment, even trying door handles. With her security patrol, she'd basically staged a neighborhood spy ring. Meanwhile, Anna's recordings showed private guards accusing me of being unstable and dangerous just for being military. Classic discrimination, caught on tape. Each file Anna sent made the case bigger. Harassment, theft, obstruction, civil rights violations. What started as a petty HOA squabble now looked like organized crime under the RICO Act. And the best part? Karen didn't know she'd been under federal surveillance since the moment she touched my Jeep. Mrs. Patterson, an elderly widow who lost 2 sons in combat, saw Karen's meltdown and rallied neighbors. Vietnam vets, military spouses, young families, they gathered around my Jeep like a protective wall. Tom Henderson, a veteran, told Karen to her face, "You want that Jeep? You go through 30 veterans first." Meanwhile, Anna uncovered financial fraud. HOA funds funneled into Karen's husband's development company. Signatures poured in for a recall election. 67% of homeowners demanded Karen's removal. The tide had turned. What was once whispered fear became open defiance. The neighborhood stood united. Federal marshals arrived. Sirens echoed through manicured streets. Karen stood at the locked gate, waving keys like a queen. "This is private property. Federal law doesn't apply here." Marshal Torres stepped forward, cold and precise. "Ma'am, you've obstructed federal agents. Open this gate, or face additional charges." Karen refused. That was it. Handcuffs clicked. The self-proclaimed ruler of suburbia was charged with theft of federal law enforcement property, obstruction of justice, embezzlement, and civil rights conspiracy. Her husband Carl, caught funneling funds, was arrested too. Their suburban empire collapsed in one morning. Months later, justice was complete. Karen, 8 years in federal prison, restitution to every family she harassed. Carl, banned from public office, business dissolved. My Jeep still sits in Grandma's driveway, a symbol of standing up the right way. And our neighborhood? Finally free from suburban tyranny.